And in your packet, I want to direct your attention to the agenda. Item 6C has been withdrawn and will be coming at our next meeting, I believe. Item 9 and item 10 have been withdrawn as well. So I need a motion to approve the agenda with those changes.
Make a motion to approve with those changes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak to us at this time? It's time for open comment. Don't see any hands, so we'll close public comment. The minutes from the August 10th meeting were in your packet that was sent to you. Is there
Motion to approve the minutes from August 10th.
okay? Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Let's go to Citizens Advisory Committee. Get their report. Welcome, Jim.
Good afternoon, Jim Godfrey, Chair of TAC. I'm now wired for sound. Good afternoon again, Jim Godfrey, Chair of the CAC. Several items for your consideration today. The budget calendar, as presented by Bev and later in your presentation, was presented to us, and we approved that budget presentation. The item that Chairman Bennett was referring to, we mentioned last month that we were looking at establishing some criteria and timing for review of price changes on projects. We had that discussion. I put together a proposal. We discussed that proposal and would be making a recommendation to you. The goal of that being that the members of the CAC have the appropriate and enough information in order to be able to understand the scope and the rationale for changes so that we can present to you a recommendation without delaying the member government for lack of information, delaying their request. And so I had spoken briefly with the city and the county and in putting that proposal together, but the county would like to, who Jennifer was not at the CAC meeting, and today she wanted to have an opportunity to talk with her counterparts in the city and maybe change some of the numbers in that, and we have no problem with that. So we withdrew that, and we'll bring that back to you after our discussion next month. So.
And Jim, I just want to add to that. I felt that since we have the county and Green Mountain Falls not here, if we're going to make changes, we ought to have all the representation in place. So
that was what that item was about. The other item that drew some conversation in the CAC was on the city's contracts. The city came forward with 7 contracts, 2 engineering change orders for Pikes Peak Avenue, Printer Parkway, and Fontanero and El Paso intersection improvements. We approved those. And then they had 5 equipment rental, 4 equipment rental and 1 equipment purchase. There was a motion to bifurcate that list and approve just the engineering orders and then discuss and approve the equipment-related things separately. That motion failed. It's the burr and a few people's saddles about the purchase of equipment with RTA funds. It's come up over the years again and again. It's really a dead issue. You guys in the board have approved the purchase of specialized equipment with RTA money, and all this equipment was specialized. So we had to kind of nip that, but there was, when we voted on it as a whole, a member felt strong enough about the issue of equipment purchases to vote no on the deal. But it did pass with all the what you have in your packet. So I mentioned to the CAC that I would at least share some members' concerns about the use of RTA money for equipment purchases. We had no problem with El Paso County. They had 2, and then we had one item that was a policy issue relating to using RTA funds to pay for the training of an individual. That was withdrawn and was not discussed. So other than that, that's kind of covers. One other was in your packet. We have a board policy number 12 that is a policy in place for large projects where change orders could exceed the $200,000 limit that we have put in place, that you guys have put in place. And they add that there's a running list of projects that are large dollar values where a change order could be way above that. And so that's on the exception list, and we approve that. We made a recommendation for approval of that as well.
Okay. Is there any questions of Jim? Is there a motion to accept the CAC report?
Move to accept.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay.
And then
Yes.
And then on a sad note, we had one of our CAC members suddenly die this weekend of a massive heart attack. Carla Hurd Price. She's very active in the community. And so we have a card that we would like to pass around to those who haven't already signed it. Some of you already have. But if you want to sign it, then please feel free to do so.
And, Jim, would it be appropriate to have a moment of silence?
Absolutely, we recommend it.
Okay. Let's take a moment of silence to remember her service to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla will be sorely missed.
Yes, she will.
51, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Bev, would you like to come up and give us a financial report, please?
Good afternoon. Beverly Majewski, PPRTA Finance Manager. Yesterday, we received the funds from the state of Colorado for our sales and use tax of $7,270,000 almost, and so we were $715 below the monthly budget, and that's quite a drop. However, there was $408,000 credit. That's a one-time credit. There was a lawsuit against a wireless company charging them with charging sales tax wrongly on their data plans. So the consumers won the lawsuit. Then the Department of Revenue had to go all the way back to the beginning of that data plan and figure out how much taxes came out of each entity. So the RTA got the $408,000 credit this month. So that accounts for some of the drop in sales and use tax. And then year to date, we're still ahead of the amended $89 million budget by $1,164,000. On page 2, we're ahead of last year by $2,252,000. So last month was a all-time high, and then it dropped quite a bit this month, but we'll just keep our eye on that. The other pages 3, 4, and 5 are the revenue and expense summary, and it just puts the revenue in the first quarter of the report up at the top, and then the expenditures are based on a cash flow basis at this point. So nothing is over budget,
Okay.
expenditure-wise. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Bev? Anybody in the audience have any questions? Bev, thank you. Do you want to go over the calendar now, the
Yes.
budget calendar?
So the next item is to get approval of the 2017 budget calendar and revenue projection. And the draft budget calendar, which is attached to your memo, is very similar to the one from 2016, and it satisfies all the legal requirements by the state of Colorado for government entity, and the CAC approved this at their meeting.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the budget calendar?
Move to approve?
Any other discussion? Anyone in the audience? All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? Thanks, Bev.
Okay. And then the second item is the member governments received from me a revenue projection that we put in the budget, and it'll change mid-year depending on what our actual is compared to budget when we do the amended budget. But in the estimate, this was before this last month being somewhat negative, I thought that $2 million would be a good increase from $89 million to $91 million. And my question for the board today is, would you prefer to stay flat at $89 million? I didn't really anticipate a drop in the monthly sales and use tax to the extent that it dropped.
I told in our meeting before that I was comfortable saying flat because we can adjust this at the mid-year budget cycle when we know what reality looks like. But I'd rather hear from all of you. Do you want to leave it at the 89 million or yes, please? Turner?
I think with the election coming up and a lot of other things that are going on, that it's probably better to be conservative as you're suggesting.
Yeah.
I think there's just too many things out there that could affect it.
We can always adjust it mid-year
Oh,
if the dollars
We're
come in.
always happy to go
Yeah,
up.
I agree. I'd say let's leave it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Let's do
great.
that. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Let's go to the capital maintenance and public transportation contracts. Start with the City of Colorado Springs, and all of these have been recommended for approval by the CAC.
Good afternoon, Mike Chavez, City Engineering. I'm going to go over the first two items, then Corey will talk about the remainder. First item is a change order for AECom to their design contract for $85,000, and that's to do final design on a water line design replacement that we're going to incorporate. This will be reimbursed by CSU when we settle up at the end of the project. The next one is a construction contract to make improvements at the intersection of Fontanero and El Paso to even Pricer, and that one at Fontanero and El Paso intersection, that five-leg intersection, we're going to modify and basically take out the eastern leg of Fontanero to help with the signal operation timing.
Okay.
And so that's two I have.
All right. Do you want to, let's go to Corey.
All right. Good afternoon, Corey Farkas, Public Works Operations and Maintenance. The contracts that we had brought forward, we have 3 on-call rental equipment contracts that we had brought forward. Again, this is something that we're very interested in for our operations group so that we can readily have equipment available to utilize. I think the beautiful thing about having these contracts is that we have locked these rental suppliers into their pricing for 5 years. So we won't have any price increase on our rental equipment over the next 5 years for that. We also, this is the equipment purchases that we were speaking of, and I brought the airless truck mounted striping, our paint truck, a while back as, hey, this is something we're thinking about getting. So we finally got our pricing back on that and are moving forward. We had an approximate cost at that time of about $500,000. Through our procurement process, we came up with a truck for just over $450,000 for our striping truck. And then also 4 new pothole trucks. We've got 8 total pothole trucks within the city. Our average years on those pothole trucks are 14 years old. We've got a 66% online rate for our pothole trucks. They're 1/3 of the time they're down and not on the roadway. Yet we've increased our production over 3 times over the last 2 years with that fleet that we have. So, we would really like to have equipment that will work for us while we're out there and be able to continue to address these potholes and increase our production rates even more. Yes, sir.
Is that due to the age of the truck?
Yeah, 14 years old when you talk about heavy equipment, and these are specialized trucks. So these trucks actually have an air compressor because we do have the hammer, the spade bit hammer, on there to be able to square up our holes. They've got spoils bins. They've got a heated hopper to keep the asphalt hot all day. They've got a conveyor mechanism within that hopper to be able to feed that asphalt out the back of the truck. So with
14 years old?
Our average, yes. Yes, and we have four of our 8 are city trucks and 4 are PPRTA purchased trucks, and they're just tired, and so bless you.
Just, I don't know, when we had this discussion regarding the policy on equipment, there was some concerns that equipment would be purchased that weren't specialized, and that was not the intent of the PPRTA dollars.
Right.
But the board felt at that time that you've got to have the equipment to do the work, and specialized equipment, if you don't have that to do the work, you can't get the work done. So that's why the board policy was to approve it. Is there a motion to approve the City of Colorado Springs contracts?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Why do you use 3 different vendors?
So not one vendor, well, first of all, competition to get the best pricing, but not one vendor can, we gave them a laundry list of equipment. This is what our needs are. Some vendors can offer some things and others offer others. There was no one vendor that could offer all of what we needed. So we went ahead and wanted to, again, these are on-call contracts, not to exceed contracts, because we have planned work that we'll know what equipment we need, but we also have emergent work that comes up that we don't know what equipment we'll need. And so we gave them an exhaustive list of equipment.
So this isn't a vehicle, this is a list.
Yes, it's a list of it's excavators and graders and loaders and pavers and mill machines and you name it, it's on there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay. Okay. A second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Thanks, Corey.
I have one more thing.
Yes, please.
So I have a walk-in for today. So we had budgeted within our maintenance budget dollars for some experimental paving to go on this year on the east side of town. We had chosen some streets on the east side of town where we have, everybody's, I'm sure, aware of our wide crack issue, specifically on the east side of town. So we had set aside some dollars to have several streets paved with an experimental pavement that we hope works. We haven't found anything that works yet. And so we had set these dollars aside to do it. We scheduled the work. We have an oil company that is willing to make the oil. It's a very specialized highly polymerized oil that goes into this flexible pavement. And so it's not something that they readily make. So they are going to make this oil for us. We were moving forward and thought we had our PPRTA contract extended from last year because we extended it last year, but the extension only went to the end of the year. And so in our division, we were under the assumption that we've got the contractor, the schedule, and the money, but no contract to put it towards. Finding this out last night, we figured it would be a good idea to bring it to the board and see if we could walk it on. We didn't bring it to the CAC last week, but I have discussed it with Jim and Reb this afternoon. And again, we're just basically renewing Martin Marietta's contract so that we can get this paving done here in the next couple of weeks.
And Corey, I'm certainly supportive of this, but I think if we find something that actually works, would you please share that with our partners?
I will absolutely share with everybody
I'm sure
involved.
You probably have some of the same problems.
I will say this is not a cheap material. It is not an inexpensive material. It's actually a very pricey material. However, when you compare that with the cost of a full reconstruction, because this is a national problem. We've discussed it with CAPA. Everybody in the state, nobody's been able to figure out the wide crack problem. We have found out that nobody in the nation has been able to figure out this wide crack problem that really occurred from the late 90s to 2010 in that time frame. and kind of a perfect storm. So
Both county and Manitou have just affirmed that they have the same problem as well.
yes, it's nationwide, and so yes, if we can figure out something, and we have already done some experiments this year with an interlayer
Okay.
using a glass grid, and then this is a highly polymerized asphalt that we're also going to be using as an interlayer to see if we can span these cracks and keep it from moving.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer, let's go to the county. And I believe these have been recommended for approval by the CAC as well.
Jennifer, Irving, County Engineer, and first I'd just like to thank the city for doing all the research, and we've been talking about that pavement issue at Kappa for, I don't know, at least 5 years, so we'll be coordinating and looking and seeing how the results, because we have the same issue just across the street of one of the main locations, so
Yeah.
anyway, I just want to thank Corey for all the work that he's done there. We have 2 items. The first is our Mark Shuffle South roadway improvements. We have a change order with our contractor, Wildcat Construction, for about $210,000, $211,000. And this is, we discovered a shortage in some of our earthwork. And so we have the earthwork, we just have, the material within the project, we just have to move it. So there's an additional cost for moving that within the project that we hadn't identified in the original contract. So, and then the next item is with our Highway 105 project. We're finishing up the preliminary design for the entire corridor, and then we're moving forward with the final design for what we call Project A, and that's from Lake Woodmore to Lake Woodmore Drive. And part of that project is federally funded, and that's why we're pushing that segment forward first. So that contract increase is for a total amount of $671,000. Part of that is going to be funded with federal dollars, so we're asking PPRTA for $299,419. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer
Any
those.
questions for Jennifer? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Second. Any discussion in the audience? All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's, next on the agenda is the City of Colorado Springs request to revise Board Policy Number 12, which I believe has been recommended for approval by the CAC.
Good afternoon, Mike Chavez, City Engineering. So we're asking that the Centennial Boulevard reconstruction project be added to the exemption list for the change order limits, and what that basically does is on the larger RTA projects, we've asked for higher change order limits so we can move quickly as things come up. So what the revised limits are is up to $100,000 per change order, or 10% of the total project. That just allows us to move quickly if we find something out in the field, as opposed to if we have to come to the board, and if we just miss a meeting, we could potentially have to wait a month to get approval, and just we have some risk there.
Yeah. Any questions, comments? Yes. Turner?
Two. What is the total cost for the Centennial project?
The construction cost is was it $7.8 million?
Okay, so this would allow you to go to up to 10% would be 780,000.
Yes, and then after, if we reach that limit,
Aggregate.
yeah,
Okay.
and then after, if we do reach that, we would need to come to the board for each change order. Typically, what we found on these larger projects is we really only end up going about 3 to 5%, historically. So we really haven't reached those upper limits.
Okay.
Second question is, this change affects this project only?
Yes, we do it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, second. Any discussion from the audience? Anyone here? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to the Transit Services Monthly Report, City of Colorado Springs. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Vicki McCann, PR and Marketing Supervisor for Transit. The monthly update should be in your packet. I'm standing in for other transit staff members who generally do this, but I'll do my best to answer any questions you might have. If I don't know the answer, I'll find out and get it to you.
Are there any questions? Well, make sure you tell Craig you did a much better job.
I will.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I believe this is for information only. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go to item 8C, the quarterly reports from the member governments.
Good afternoon, Rick Sonnenberg, Pikes Peak RTA Program and Contracts Manager. This is an information item. I'll be glad to take any questions you might have.
I believe there's a report from each of the member partners here. Is there any questions or comments? Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? I don't see any, and this is information only. The one thing that I would, since we're talking about our member agency or member jurisdictions, is we currently have some vacancies on the Citizens Advisory Committee, the CAC. Would each of our partners, would you please look at your status on the CAC and take responsibility for bringing us a recommendation? If Jim, is there anything else that needs to be said other than that?
No.
We just don't want to get behind, is the issue.
We just want to have adequate representation from all the member governments at the CAC.
Okay. And some of these openings may be alternates, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Actually, no. The alternates are at the at-large level,
I see.
and so we have Rama, Green Mountain Falls, and one from Manitou. Is that right? For the member governments, and then we do encourage those that are term limited or expiring within the at-large community to reapply or approach their city or their municipality too. So.
Okay.
But that we do have some members that don't necessarily live in some of those areas that are willing to represent those areas. So if you're having trouble finding someone and you would like representation, that is not unprecedented to occur. So if you're having trouble finding someone, let us know. We'll let you in touch with an at-large member that's willing to work.
Okay. All right. Are there any member announcements? Yes, ma'am.
I just found out this morning, so I didn't have a chance to tell Rick, but El Paso County had submitted our Baptist Road West project for an award for APWA, and I just received word this morning that the project received Project of the Year through American Public Works Association Colorado. So we'll be going up in November to receive that award, and so I just wanted to let you know, and it's pretty exciting.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, items 9 and 10, there's no need for those items, so those have been withdrawn. I do want to introduce to you Bethany. Wave at us, Bethany. Bethany did an internship with us at City Council, so she's kind of special to three of us up here. But Bethany, it's great to have you as a part of the team. All right. If there's no other items for the group, we are adjourned.
Short and sweet.
Well done.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
None of those stories are true.